Okay, Mr. Sonnenberg here. We're discussing Science 8 fluid movements in cells. This is the second video. We've already done a vid or a screencast on diffusion. So this screencast is going to discuss the process of osmosis. So again, we're dealing with the unit cells and cell systems. We're on general outcome number 2. We're investigating and describing the role of cells within living things. And still, again, discussing specific outcome 2.4. We're describing the movement of gases and liquids into and out of the cells during diffusion and osmosis based on concentration differences. And there is a third video that will be coming up as well that you'll want to know or want to view for this specific outcome. Also, once you have viewed this screencast, there is a video on my YouTube page or my YouTube channel that is on osmosis as well, which I strongly urge, or I urge you to watch. It's going to provide you with some quality diagrams and instruction as well, just to reinforce your knowledge on osmosis and its processes. So moving on, I'll just skip through a few slides here just to get to the osmosis slide. Okay, so osmosis is the diffusion of water through a selectively permeable membrane. So we talked about this selectively permeable membrane, these cell membranes, and remember plant and animal cells both have cell membranes, and it allows substances in and out of the cell, but it also can refuse objects from passing through its membrane or leaving its membrane. So what we're going to talk about is osmosis, and the process of diffusion. Remember, diffusion of water. Well, remember diffusion from the last screencast we looked at. Diffusion was the movement of particles from a highly concentrated area to a low concentration area. Okay, so what happens is the particles were dispersing in diffusion and moving in one direction, primarily to create equilibrium. So again, with this process of osmosis, we're going to see the diffusion of water, and we're also going to see the process of trying to create that equilibrium between the substances. So water helps to dissolve many of the substances involved in cell processes. Okay, water is a unique substance in composition, and it's called the universal solvent, and many things dissolve in it. So very unique substance. So when water is lost or it moves out of the cell, so the cell contains water, and when that water actually moves out of the cell, it leaves behind a high concentration of dissolved substances. So as the water passes through the membrane, the water has the ability to leave the membrane and is permeable, but what the substances sometimes that are dissolved in water are impermeable, and they cannot leave. They cannot fit through and are not able to leave through the cell membrane. So this dissolved substance leaves a high concentration inside the cell. Now, when the water moves back into the cell, the substances become more diluted and can be used by the cell for its life's functions. So again, just to recap, we're taking this water, and the water is leaving the cell. But as it leaves the cell, it has other substances that were dissolved in it. Now, those dissolved substances may not pass through, maybe they're too large to pass through the cell membrane or pass through the semi-permeable membrane or selectively permeable membrane. But then when the water comes back in, because of this high concentrated substance that was left, when the water moves back into that cell, then the substances that were left become more diluted. Okay, and less concentrated. So there's concentrate and there's dilute, and so to take this highly concentrated area, that word dilute or diluted is referring to the fact that it is less concentrated now, and that's what the water moving into the cell is going to produce. Now, some of the water now with this less diluted solution is going to move back out of the cell again, and then it's going to also come back in and it's going to dilute that concentrated area until we reach an area of equilibrium between the concentration inside and outside of the cell. And in osmosis, there are other processes. There's hypotonic, isotonic, or hypertonic processes that are going to help us to better understand the concentration levels of inside and outside the cell. But we're not going to discuss those. We just want to know the cell or the process of osmosis, that we're taking water is leaving, it's leaving the center of the cell and it's moving to the exterior of the cell, and then but the highly concentrated or the substance that was dissolved cannot, and then the water comes back in and dilutes that concentrated solution, and we eventually form equilibrium between the inside and the outside. So let's have a diagram here that's showing on the right over here, you can see all these red dots are salt, so sodium chloride. So all these are salt. There's a higher concentration of salt particles on the right hand side of the screen and a lower concentration on the left hand side. So also on the left hand side, we're going to say there is a higher concentration of water molecules, and then on the right hand side there's a lower concentration. So through diffusion in this process of osmosis, we're going to see the water diffusing from this left cell, the highly concentrated area, and it's not highly concentrated in salt, it's highly concentrated in water on this side. And it's going to diffuse and move to a lower concentrated area. Okay, so there's less concentration of water, but what is there more of here? There's more salt. So now as this water passes in, it's going to create a dilute solution. So the level of this salt is actually going to decrease. And now the water again is going to pass through. But if these little salts are trying to pass back through, they're not going to fit through the cell membrane. So water is, though, it's going to diffuse this direction and then it's going to move back out again. And these particles they're going to become more dilute, but some of the water is going to pass back through. Now, when more water comes in again, it's going to dilute the solution or these salt even more until we have kind of an equilibrium where they attach to the water and we have this equilibrium back and forth. Now it's a difficult concept to grasp, and like I said earlier, there is a video that I would like you to watch attached to my YouTube channel under playlists that is titled Osmosis, and it's about 7 minutes long. It's going to also explain it's also going to explain the process and such. So remember, what I'd like you to do is create some lecture notes based on this YouTube screen or the screencast on osmosis, but also on the video you're going to view, and create some notes in your own words that are going to help you to understand the concept and also refer back to the concept. So this is osmosis. I hope this video helps you somewhat to increase your knowledge in osmosis and its processes. And really what you need to know is that water is diffusing from a high concentrated area to a low concentrated area and diluting the highly concentrated particles or substances that were left behind when the water diffused. Okay, and then we're going to try to create this equilibrium again. Alright, so hopefully this has helped, and there will be one more video on transpiration to finish up this section of our specific outcome 2.4 in general outcome 2 of cells and cell systems in Science 8. Okay, thanks for viewing.